So first thing that we're going to do is review our three formulas. The first one is slope, M for slope. I'm going to put this where it says name up here. You can kind of just write it off to the side, or you can put it where it says name, whatever. What is our slope formula? It's y2 minus y1. Good. And then on the bottom, good. So you're subtracting, y goes on the top, x goes on the bottom. It looks like a whole lot of x's and y's and ones and twos. It looks complicated, but you're just subtracting. And remember, you can just type it in the calculator. Okay. And then our slope intercept form. Thank you. Our slope intercept form is that y equals mx plus b. B is the y-intercept. Now, if you don't have the y-intercept, that's a really picky piece of information. If you don't have that, you have to do point slope form. Y minus y equals slope x minus x. Y minus y equals slope x minus x. Do you remember this? Sort of. No, it was 2 weeks ago. That's why we're reviewing. So y minus, and we put little ones with them. Y minus y1 equals slope, and then x minus x1. So it's y minus your y number equals your slope, x minus your x numbers. Those are our three formulas. On your test, like usual, that's going to be the first three questions. Make sure that you have them right before you keep going. We're just going to practice the heck out of that, all right? So look at this first one. I gave you the slope and I gave you the y-intercept. We're starting out with a super easy one. You can just write the answer. If I give you the slope and I give you the y-intercept, what's going to be our equation? Y equals what? 2/3 x, perfect, minus 1. That's it. You're just assembling the equation. You're basically given all the ingredients, you're just putting it together. This one's the same thing. You just are given a graph instead of the information being written out. So the first thing we got to find is the slope. It is going to be a negative slope. How do I know that? Why is the slope negative?
Because it's negative.
Like going down, right? So if you want to draw in your little triangle so you can count the little boxes, how much down and then how much to the right you go. So how many little boxes down do we go? 6. So down 6 and then over 4. So our slope is negative 6/4. Does that reduce? Yes. If it does, then you have to reduce it. They'll both divide by 2. Good. Negative 3/2. So that's our slope. Our y-intercept, and you'll kind of just need to watch me point to this. It's right here. I don't have a better explanation then. It's right there. Do you see it? All right, so you're going to take all of the ingredients and put it together. Thank you. Y equals negative 3/2x. That was our slope. And then what for our y-intercept? Negative 4. Good. You're just taking all the information, putting it in the right spot. Are we good so far? You're all very awake today, which is like pleasantly surprised. Right? Barely. All right, now this one, we don't have the y-intercept. We have a point and we have a slope. So we're going to use this equation right here. Y minus y equals slope x minus x. Ready? Y minus which one of those numbers? 4. Good. How come 4? That's the y number. All right, equals. What comes next? You have everything. You're just putting it in the right spot. Negative 2. That's your slope. Parenthesis. Write this down. X minus 1. And then you just have to rearrange it so that y is by yourself. It's only 2 steps. What's our first step? What do we have to do with this negative 2? Distribute. So it'll be y minus 4 equals, what would that be? Negative 2x. Careful here. Oh, why is it plus 2? Negatives cancel. Negative 2 times negative 1 would be positive 2. And then your last step to get y by itself is add 4. So it would be y equals negative 2x plus 6. This one's going to be similar, except what are we missing? It's going to be what we just did, but one extra step. What do we not have that we need? Slope. So the first thing that you're going to do is find the slope. Subtract your y numbers. Which numbers are the y numbers? Yeah, the -8 minus 7. Right, fraction bar, and then we're going to subtract the x numbers. It would be 6 minus -3, which would actually be +3. And if you want to just go ahead and write the +3, you can do that. Now, at this point, I would expect you would just type it in your calculator. Okay, we'll work it out together. -8 and -7 will be -15. I'll kind of be your calculator here. This would be 6 plus 3, 9. Perfect. And that does reduce. They'll both divide by 3.
And the 5, -5 over 3.
Perfect. Now it is exactly the same as this question. You have to pick a point. Do you remember which one I told you to pick? The first one. For no other reason than it's the first one, and you have to make a decision. That's fine. So it'll be y minus, what's your y number for that first point? Good, 7. Again, you have all the ingredients. You're just putting them in the right spot. Y minus 7 equals, what is your next item that's going to come up? Slope. -5/3, parenthesis, x minus, now it's x minus -3, which would be x plus 3. If you have a minus a negative, my suggestion is just go ahead and write plus, because negatives cancel. All right, so now we're going to distribute this. I realize it's a fraction and that's scary. I'm going to just be your calculator for right now. If you distribute that, it'll be -5/3 x minus 5. When you multiply these, the 3's will just cancel. So it'll just be -5. And then what's your last step to get y alone? Add 7. Good. You guys are doing a good job paying attention. It's awesome. So your final answer, y equals -5/3 x plus 2. Beautiful. Hanging in there. You guys are doing great. Is this coming back to you from 2 weeks ago? Okay, this is a review of everything in the unit so far. You're basically getting like 2 review days. We're reviewing today and we're going to review next time. All right, now this is written x-intercept -8. You want to write that as an ordered pair, something comma something else. If it's an x-intercept, it's going to be -8 comma 0. Good. And so that's your point. That's your slope. We're going to do exactly what we did in number 3. It is not any different. These problems are the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. Okay. It's going to be y minus your y number. What's your y number for the point? 0, right? Which is kind of nice because it's 0. Y minus 0 equals, and then what ingredient comes next? Slope. -3/4, parenthesis. It'll be x minus -8, which will be +8. I still see some of you not writing it. I don't know how to explain this to you, but when I hand you a test, you're going to have to write it. Now we kind of left out with the 0 because what's y minus 0? Let's try again. Y minus nothing would just be y. Good. Equals, which is good because you want y alone. Y equals, and we're just going to distribute this. So -3/4 x minus, because it's a negative, what would that be, 6? I'm being your calculator for you right now. You would type in -3/4 times 8. That would give you -6. Cool. One more of these. And then we're going to change it to the horizontal and vertical ones. All right, x-intercept of -6. How would you write that as a point? Something, comma, something else. Good. -6, 0. And then the y-intercept is 2. How would you write that as a point? Something, comma, something else. 0, 2. You just have to remember where the 0 goes. But if it's the x-intercept, the number goes for x. If it's the y-intercept, the number goes for y. What do we not have? What are we missing that we need? Are you with me over there? We're good. What do we not have? Slope. Subtract the y values, subtract the x values. So if we subtract y's, that'll be 2 minus 0. These are your y numbers. So 2 minus 0. And then on the bottom, it'll be 0 minus, bless you, negative 6, which will actually be 0 plus 6. So what does that give us? 2 over 6, which does reduce 1/3. Perfect. We don't have to do any more work. We can actually just write the answer now. Why? You already have the y-intercept. It's going to be y equals 1/3 x, and then what? Plus 2. We already have the y-intercept, so you can just write the answer. Now this next little cluster of questions here, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, these are all your horizontal and vertical lines. So let's write that little acronym down again. HOIVUX. Horizontal lines have a 0 slope. They are y equals whatever. Vertical lines have an undefined slope. They are x equals whatever. So when this says graph x equals 4, is that going to be vertical or horizontal? Vertical at 4. So you're going to count over to 4, draw a vertical line. X equals is vertical. So what's the slope of that? Undefined. You can abbreviate. And B is the y-intercept. Look at, this is your y-axis. Does it touch the y-axis?
So that's none.
Yeah, so none. Or you can write NA, or you can put a frowny face, or you can write nope. I don't actually care what you write, but just put something there that indicates there isn't one. And then this one is y equals, is that going to be vertical or horizontal? Good. Horizontal is y equals at -1. So that'll be right here. Just go down 1. These are easy and hard at the same time. They're very basic, but one is one way and one is the other. So you got to make sure you're paying attention. What's the slope of that line? 0. Bless you. And your y-intercept is -1. Technically 0, -1, but I'll take -1. And then these are exactly what you were doing on your Quizlet game. So let's see what you've got. We want a slope of 0. Is that x equals or y equals? Good. And what's our y number?
Oh, wait, no.
-5. Good. All right, undefined. Is that x equals or y equals? X equals
So it's
2.
2.
Perfect. Now these, if you didn't notice this, you would find the slope the exact same way we did in question 4. You would subtract the y values, subtract the x values. But if you're paying attention, you can avoid doing extra work. Look, do you see how both of the y numbers are a 5 here? Do you see that?
It's, no, it's horizontal.
If both of the y numbers are 5, your answer is y equals 5. If you notice that, that will save you from doing work. I'm not telling you to be lazy. I'm telling you to be efficient. Do you understand the difference there? Oh yeah, you just would have done more work. We're not using the Chromebook yet. We're almost there. Okay. Now, what do you notice about these 2 points?
2.
Yeah, both the x's are 2, so your answer is x equals 2. Now for these last ones, you need the calculator. You cannot do these without the calculator. So you can go ahead and bring up Desmos graphing.
Unless you're showing.
And if 13 goes well, I won't make us do 14. I'll fill it in and post it on Schoology, so you can do that one if you want. But this is basically just a lot of button pushing. Let me make sure I'm on the right screen, and I'll share my screen here so it can show up on the recording as well. Okay, here we go. What button do you hit first? Plus, I cleared mine all out so we could start from the beginning, but if yours is already in there, you can just delete your table and refill it in. So plus sign table, and then you're gonna enter the data. And this data is about a family size and the number of gallons of milk that they drink. So would it make sense that the more people in your family, the more milk you'll have to buy? Does this make sense? Okay. So we should get a positive slope, like it should be going up. The more people, the more gallons of milk. I'm kind of seeing the tapping slow down there. Okay, do we all get the table in? Now you're gonna come down here to the second box and it's y equals mx plus b, except what are the two differences? We need the ones and tilde, okay? Because it's not an exactly perfect line, it's like good enough, all right? So it's y1, you can just hit 1, and then instead of equals, do the tilde, and then mx1 plus b. So it's y equals mx plus b, but you have to put the ones and you have to put the tilde. And then your answer comes up right here. That's your slope and your y-intercept. Did you get point? Well, we're down to 1 decimal point. So this would be 0.9 for the slope and negative 0.1, I guess we'll round that to. So, okay, I'm seeing heads nodding. Perfect. Let me go back and stop sharing and we'll write that down. All right, so line of best fit, no work. You're just gonna write the answer on here. Y equals, oh gosh, what was it? 0.9 x minus 0.1. And then we're going to use that to make predictions. B says, predict the milk consumption in 1 week for a 7-member family. Look it. It's written on the paper. You just have to look. Is members of the family X or Y? This is our table, X and Y. Is members of the family X or Y? X. So what you're going to type in on your Desmos is X equals 7 and find the intersection. And sometimes you have to scoot the graph around a little bit to make that happen. Let me share my screen again. So come down here to the third little box. You're going to type X equals 7 and then kind of scoot around here until you find it. Ooh, I forgot to hit the magnifying glass. Oopsie. That'll make it be a little bit better. If you hit the magnifying glass, I'm sorry, I skipped that step. If you hit the magnifying glass, that's zoom fit. It'll make a good zoom for you so you can see all the dots in there. All right, so what is our intersection? For 7 members of the family, 6.2. Would that round up? Yeah, 6.2. Now it's 6.2 what? If there's 7 members of the family, it's 6.2 gallons of milk. That's a lot. Although 7 is a big family.
And how often is this open?
Yeah. And then C says, predict the family size if they're using 10 gallons. Is gallons X or Y?
Why?
Gallons is Y. So you're going to go back to your Desmos, erase the X equals 7, put Y equals 10, and find that intersection. Again, guys, this isn't hard, but you got to type it all because there's no other way to get the answer. So Y equals 10, when you find that intersection, how many members are in the family? Yeah, let's round to the nearest whole person for this one instead of decimal pointing somebody. Can we just say 11 family members? Does that work? Or did anyone else get 11? Okay. And you have to make sure you put the units, like the gallons and the family members. But look, you don't have to make it up. See how it's written on the paper, family size and gallons? Like you can't mess it up. It's written right here. You just have to make sure you put it on your answer. Do you guys feel like you're okay with button pushing that? I will do this last one and fill it in and post it on Schoology if you want to do that one to check your work. But we did a good review, so I'll let us go ahead and stop there.